All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Do you want to do the roll call?
Yes, sir. Robert Rotalick,
Present.
Robert DeCina,
Present.
Ken Demers,
Here.
Gary Lafferty,
Here.
Rachel Ryan.
Here.
Okay. Public participation.
Come on, Mayor. Say something.
Okay, seeing nobody for public participation, can I have a motion for the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12th, 2024 Public Works Subcommittee meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any questions, errors, omissions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain?
Abstain.
I abstain.
Okay. Correspondence.
There is no correspondence, to report, but the basic theme over the past month and a half was drainage that we've been attacking aggressively and fixing, but also a lot of drainage concerns in folks, their backyards and side yards. That's not necessarily a town responsibility. We're probably up to, a half dozen of those issues that we're working with to assist them, but we're not going to do the work ourselves.
Okay. All right, closing to that. Old business.
The assistant town engineer is going to cover the pavement management program.
Okay, as we all know, we have our beta study, which tells us we have $45 million worth of work to do on the roads. If we were to do all of this as mill and pave, it'd be like $97 million. We're trying to get the public to understand what we're doing. As you also know, we've been getting lots of complaints about the chip seal and the fog seal. It's finally starting to subside, but we still have a few out there that are resistant and complaining. As far as our paving goes, we should be paving by the end of the week for Evelyn, Barbara, as well as Davis Street Extension. The week of October 28th, Metcalf is supposed to come in and mill Hillcrest, Arcadia, as well as Inglewood, and Cochola is to follow up immediately after in paving. That'll end our actual paving for the season. Chip seal, we still basically are finished. At the last page of the packet, you'll see all the roads we did. Fog seal, the only road left right now is Oak Drive. And we're just waiting for the right temperature and no frost in the morning to make sure that we get a good seal on the road.
I have a question for you on that.
Sure.
All roads that are chip sealed are also fog sealed?
At this time, that is what we are doing, correct.
Okay.
As far as the rest of the schedule, I'm going to talk with Ray Cochola tomorrow and verify so we can do a press release and get that out to the public as well. Is there any other questions at the moment?
I do, through the chair. The fog seal, is that very similar to what I would use on my driveway?
It is very similar, but it's different emulsion, yes.
Yeah. So it's just really like, we call it fog seal, but it's really.
It's very much like Genite, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any others? Yes.
Through the chair there. You mentioned Metcalf is doing Hillcrest and a couple of
Arcadia.
side streets. Now,
Yes.
what area is Coachella going to do?
That's Cochola's sub for the milling.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, no problem. Okay, and then how many more streets you got to do this year?
Just those three.
3, okay.
We will be working the FY25 list in the months of December and January to present to the board, but basically it will be found the beta study.
Yes. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Jerry?
Okay, the next one is Wilson Street Bridge Project. We did have 2 punch list items, which was to pour some additional concrete on an exit discharge pipe and also underneath the bridge. That was completed by Dayton. We did find one other condition on 18 August where there was a connection on Merriman that wasn't on any of the as-bills for the road. So Dayton's going to get out there one final time. Unfortunately, we do have to cut one piece of the sidewalk up and tie it into a new catch basin that we have in place. And also, Highways is going to get out there in this fall and move some sediment on the upstream side. And we can't take it out because we have the 36-inch pipe that's right there that feeds our drinking water. But we're just going to push the sediment off to the side so the channel has a better route to flow underneath the bridge. But it did great during the storm event on 18 August with flowing the water through the new bridge. Any questions on that?
There were plantings?
The plantings were completed about 3 to 4 weeks ago. So you could see the nice plantings that we do have at the bridge and that island right there on the right side when you're driving up towards Northfield. Anything else? I'd like to, Guernsey Town project update will be the town engineer.
Yes, thanks, Jer. Yeah, Guernsey Town Road is finally getting to final fruition. They had a holdup because the guide rail contractor was involved in some of the post-flood repair work, and he's back in town. They're just about done with the guide rail, and then they're supposed to start paving. Is it next Monday and Tuesday? The 21st, and yeah. We're going to send out a press release because that's going to really, they're going to do the final course on the whole road, 2/3 of a mile, so it's going to be quite congested, so we're sending out a press release that next week it's pretty, drivers beware on Guernsey Town. And just a couple odd things. A bush to be planted, one neighbor got cut down accidentally, and some minor cleanup work, and the job will be just about be done. So hopefully after all the utility delays we had and conflicts, we're happy to finally get this done before winter. So
I know we did have a resident that came in and spoke about West Road and how it narrowed down.
Right, Mr. Casitas, yeah. I think that's partially the fact that the final course isn't down because, the catch basins right in front of his house are sticking up, the 3 inches for the final course. Once that is down, it'll actually widen the road another, 3 feet of each basin, be 6 feet wider. It'll just look better and be a lot easier. Plus, we pushed the guide rail back on the golf course side to make it look like you're not through a tunnel or funneling into the road as much. Right. So that'll help the visually driving through there. So
There's also a design exception that was in the file from May of 2018 that gave us the width of the road and saying that it was okay for that.
okay.
And on Guernsey Town Road and stuff, I know it's a pretty wide road and people are worried about being a speed trap. I don't know, is it possible probably to put like bike lanes down on either side or both sides to make it look narrower?
I know it wasn't designed in that. I know the police department's been out there doing traffic enforcement on Guernsey Town Road for that. So that's part of the problem. Every time we fix a road, they go faster because there's no potholes.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no questions on that, I'll move to Main Street. Just last week, we cut 3 purchase orders, one for Ty and Bond, the other one for FHI Studios, and the third one for SLR to start the preliminary design for Main Street. And also the schematic design is basically from French Street down to the Waterbury Town line. The 35% design is for French Street up to Bassett, I'm sorry, 2 streets north of Route 6. But the other key PO that we cut for SLR is for the connectivity grant to take down the St. John's Wall, push it back, build a new one, and put a sidewalk in. On 23 October, SLR is going to be out there with a boring contractor to do 3 boreholes so they could get the right design of the soil conditions for that. We did meet with the father from the church last week, getting his permission to start that part of the project. So it's a big step for us along Main Street. The next part is I do have to get a purchase order for tie and bond for a full design in place by December 31st because it's the ARPA funds. So we have to have that purchase order in place before December 31st. So I'll be working with the DOT tie and bond and, of course, my staff here to make that happen. Any questions on Main Street?
Timeframes. What are we looking at for, I know this is the design phase.
Yep.
Are we talking, 5 years down the road before there's a shovel in the ground on this? Any idea?
I know I have the documents in my office with the timeline, and now at least I have a purchase order to communicate with the designer. Our first project kickoff meeting is going to be in the next few weeks, and that'll be one of the items that I'll have. So there'll probably be 20 to 30 different items for improvements. We could probably only afford half of them or 2/3 of them from the Congresswoman Johanna Hayes' grant. So we'll be back in front of the Public Works Subcommittee saying which ones we want to make improvements on. The design is going to be a good year and a half before we could even get anything out to bid.
And where do I know that there was monies in for the flashing lights and beacons for safety for Main Street. Is that something that goes along with that project, or is that something that we're gonna do in the short term to make?
It is
Main Street-
separate. We actually started to work with Donna today to get it out to bid. We're looking to put it out to bid in the month of November. It's 2 locations for the flashing beacons. And plus, DOT had us move one of them back about 20 feet to line up with the sidewalk with the new parking lot. So those will be going out to bid in November for that. So it's kind of all coming together at this time. Any other questions on Main Street? Okay, the next one is on detention basins. We have 50 town-owned, 25 privately owned. Of the 50 town-owned that we're maintaining, we cleaned out 10 this year. So we're up over 20 basins that we've cleaned out. These basins at times are very tough to get to. They're in the backyards of subdivisions, no access roads. Highways did do a great job, but most of it was just cutting grass and moving a little bit of sediment. Some of them we had to cut down trees that have grown for 30 to 40 years. So we are having some difficulties with some of the basins. One I just didn't do because somebody built a deck on top of the detention basin. And I'm just putting those in my pocket until I get through all 50. Then I have to probably work with Mr. Paul Jessel to come up with a plan of action to remove these yards and fences and decks. Literally a deck is on top of the basin. It's like the smallest basin we have, but it needs to be cleaned. But we're not gonna attack it until we get through all 50, and then we're gonna go back in and work those really tough basins like that. It should help out the water in the Steel Brook and Turkey Brook, and also it should help out with flooding. Not solve the problem, but help limit the impact for flooding in the town. They did help for the 18 August storm, that 100-year storm that we had. We are going to prepare to do another 10 basins next year. And also in the month of, I'm going to steal some of the new business. We are going to work on it in the month of November. Bob's going to talk about some of those details when it comes to his turn.
Through the chair. Is that detention basin with the deck, is that on that homeowner's own property?
No, it's on our property. I might pronounce it wrong, Quadrato Lane or Drive. It's hard to see it because it blended in over 30 to 40 years of the property lines. And a lot of people, thought that, why are you going across our property? But we had easements to get to the basins, not necessarily roads or gravel. It was over grass area in many cases. So
was this homeowner just mistaken in thinking that it
So
was
it's actually
their property, or?
it's a rental, and sometimes it's hard to find out, get in contact with the owner. I just don't want to waste a lot of time and effort with that one detention basin, but we know about it, and I think I'll first write the owner before I go to Mr. Jessel, just to let him know that the deck has to be removed. Anything else? Moving to the next one, the DEP stewardship permit for the landfill. It has been renewed. It's a 10-year stewardship permit. The biggest part of this one is they're going to have us test for PFAS and PFOS, the forever chemical. So, and the other part is we have to hit all these deadlines within the first year or two for our stewardship permit that we're going to be on top of. We engaged the help with Fuss and O'Neill, who has been with us with the landfill for the past decade or two for those requirements. Any other questions? I'll turn it over to Paul again for the ADA sidewalks update.
Yes, thanks, Chair. The ADA sidewalk project, this long-going project, we have actually two reviews, not just by NVCOG, but by State DOT had a pile of comments. It involved really every single sheet. We had to revise. They said if it's not a state road, you have to mark no work done in state right-of-way. So there was quite a bit of revisions to do, but we're just about done. My staff, under Joe, is going to get the package together within the next, hopefully, week, Joe, I'd say. Yeah, to get up to DOT and NVCOG. Once they both sign off, we can get the project finally out to bid, hopefully before the end of the year. Chair,
Yeah, and I think our goal is to get it so it's ready to go, construction in the spring.
Yeah. So, it's been a long process, but it's finally getting near the finish line, so.
Good.
If there's no questions, I'm going to turn it over to Bob for a Highway Department update on drainage and pavement projects. I would like to thank Highways and Engineering for the amount of work that we're getting done in the town. And you'll see it from what Bob's team has done out in the field.
Thank you, Jerry. Good evening, everyone. Jerry, if it's okay, maybe I could hit both subjects that are on my list right now, which they span old business, new business, and current business as far as drainage projects go. We are currently working on catch basin rebuilds around town. Some of the examples are west at Hickory, Warwick, Crestview, Chariot, Hillside, which was both a catch basin rebuild and a sinkhole repair. Falls Terrace, Vale Road, we did 5 catch basin rebuilds on Pepperidge Tree. Otis Drive, sinkholes, Chariot, like I said, is also on that sinkhole list. Northwest Drive, there was sinkholes and also catch basin repairs. We really just got started about a month ago on these catch basin repairs because we've been doing some paving. We overlaid some roads, And those roads, I don't know if I mentioned them last time, they are Guernsey Town Road from Skilton to Killeran. We did Killeran Road from Guernsey Town to Route 63. As you know, we did a large drainage project on Killeran Road to alleviate the water running in the road and ultimately the ice in the wintertime. So it seems to have cured the water in the road problem. Everything is in the catch basins. And even as dry as it's been, there's still water running in those pipes coming out of, ironically, the top of the field. Must be spring fed. So, but anyways, the catch basins are catching all that water now and running it down to the brook that runs parallel with Route 63 across from the gas station by Killeran. We overlaid the cul-de-sac in Nettleton. We overlaid a large portion of Sylvan Lake Road from Franklin down past the Church Majority Club. We will continue next year. We stopped because there's new construction down at the end that needs to tie into the water and sewer lines in the road, so it didn't make sense for us to overlay a road. They're just going to dig it up this month anyways. So we stopped there for this year. We'll pick up again and go all the way to the dead end of Sylvan Lake Road when we pick up our paving again next year. We did pieces of Plungus and Franson Road. We did Ledge Road off of D'Annunzio Road. And we did the portion of D'Annunzio Road from about where the old roadway building is to a couple hundred feet shy of the intersection with 262. Side note, our paver did break down. We're trying to find replacement parts for it. It is a bit antiquated, so we're having a little difficulty finding parts for this old machine that we have. Don't be surprised if you see a new machine in our budget coming up for this year, just to give you a little heads up. We are still currently working on more catch basins, and we will probably be working on catch basins for the next month. We are also, which could be considered drainage, because we're working on curbing repairs and apron repairs too, and if your apron is affected by our work, it's keeping the water from going into your yard, so the residents or the homeowners would consider that drainage work. So we do still have quite a bit of catch basins, curbing, aprons, and a few sinkholes to repair that are going to be on our plate to take care of. We are going to be renting the 60-foot stick excavator that we rented last year when you saw us down at the Pearl Harbor Bridge, that same machine. We do have a few catch basins or retention basins lined up for that. And I'm trying to get a concrete date from the rental company to get that machine here, and we have to line that up with the trucking company. And then once it's here, we have a local contractor that will move it from area to area for us within town, because it's way too large for any of our equipment to move. And then we are also going to start preparing for winter. The mechanics will be bringing in the trucks one at a time, going through the plows and the sanders and making sure everything works. So hopefully by the time we get our first storm, and it's not on Halloween, that we will, as it's happened in the past, we'll be ready. Is there any questions?
Through the chair, can you just explain to me what the term you mean by when you say overlaid?
Basically, what we're doing is we're putting 2 to 3 inches of new asphalt over the top of the existing asphalt.
Okay.
That's the difference between that and what a contractor would do. Is a contractor is either going to mill and pave, which they're basically just, think of it as sanding the surface. They're taking off a couple inches of old asphalt and replacing it with new asphalt. Mm-hmm. Or reclamation, full depth reclamation is when they take the asphalt and a couple inches of the gravel below and grind it all up and lay it back down, regrade it, recompact it, and pave over the top of it. Mm-hmm. We don't have the equipment to do any of that, okay, either one of those milling and paving or reclamation. Mm-hmm. But we can do overlays. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of the smaller work. We do a lot of the repair work, and we could also pave the trenches and the the areas that we dig up.
And then one other question, when I think of a sinkhole, I think of like a huge hole in like a road, so what does it look
A
like
sinkhole
exactly?
can be anything from the size of this little pod here
Yeah,
to something that could swallow a house. Luckily, we don't have to deal with anything that size.
okay,
But usually the sinkholes that we deal with are from faulty pipes, drainage pipes, which is most common in Watertown. From 50 years ago, 60 years ago, it was common to use corrugated metal pipes. And those pipes, because of the salt and they're constantly wet, they're all rotted and they're failing now. So that's what we're dealing with. A good example of that would be the crossing on Northfield Road that we did by Chief Black's house a few months back, and that was a 48-inch pipe that there was no bottom in. The bottom was completely rotted, and we ended up with sinkholes all along the length of the pipe. That's usually the cause of a sinkhole in Watertown, is a faulty pipe.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, close under old business, new business.
Thanks, Bob.
Yes, sir.
New business, 18 August was a big day for the area. I know for us, it was just shy of a 100-year storm that came through with about 7 to 10 inches of rain, depending on where you're at. Same day that hit Southbury and Oxford and Monroe pretty hard. So we filed all the reports with FEMA. They were counting on us because there was only 3 towns putting in for funding: Roxbury, Woodbury, and Watertown. They didn't hit their limit for the president to actually declare us and to receive funding. So for Litchfield County, we got them over $850,000 for the county. So any of the towns in the county that had damage could work with FEMA for the funding. We did get a big thanks from Demas for getting them over that count for the entire county. So we have been doing a lot of the repair work throughout the week in the past couple of Saturdays on cleaning out areas that were damaged from the storm. Unfortunately, the good news is we will get some funding, but it'll take 2 to 3 years for us to see the funding coming in from FEMA, for that. The other part is it was great to see the highway department in action, as well as the police and fire department, and how we were all talking and communicating together on the radios and basically closing one road from another road to keep it safe from water that was flowing over a dozen different locations in the town for that. So that's basically my report from 18 August. There's going to be many, many more meetings with FEMA. And I'd also like to thank the engineering department for getting the details together, because we asked for everything. My initial request was somewhere about $4.5 million. It got knocked down in half because some of it was private property, like the Pinshot Pond Dam, the Pinshot Pond itself for cleaning out sediment. Once they heard it was private property, it goes a different route than PA, or public assistance for that. And we also asked to dredge out and clean out the entire Steelbrook. So that will be coming following meetings. I also briefed inland and wetlands, and that's what was our goal, to clean it out. So hopefully that funding will be in place. But we are doing select areas at this time, but we can't take on the entire 3 to 4 mile stretch of it due to lack of funding. But I hope to get federal funding for that. Any questions on 18 August?
Through the chair. Chair, where would that farm be located? There was much in the media that a woman owned a farm, her cornfield was destroyed due to water runoff. Members of the town went up there to evaluate the problem, and that virtually her farm was going to be out of business because of water runoff, and to prevent her from having a pumpkin patch. Do you recall saying that? Where was that located?
I think it was between Sandbank and Bunker Hill and Aunt Olive, somewhere within that area of the town. And I know from learning from this storm, there's multiple funding sources that will have to come from like the Department of Agriculture,
Yes.
not from FEMA. And even like some of the state roads comes from Federal Highway Authority. That's why I'm like, 850,000, we should hit that in a minute. Like with the Woodbury road collapses, it's not FEMA money, it's Federal Highway Authority, so it has to be specifically, on the FEMA side, and not on the state road, not in the farm. There's also individual assistance. There's also grants from like the Department of Labor, and it's all these different organizations within the federal and state government for that. So as for that farm, that's the area that I think that's located at.
To me, the story was totally misleading, and it was casting aspersions that somehow, due to development authorized and okayed by the town, was a result of this woman's peril.
I just think, I brought the rain stick in. I just think what's been going on over the past couple of years, it's totally, abnormal. We're getting double the amount of rain that's coming in. So even if there was no development, you're still going to have flooding in those areas.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I had a question about, what about the Knight Street area?
The Knight Street area, that was also included on the PA, the public assistance for that. And we're also meeting with the engineer teaming up from Cardinal with Joe to go out there next week. We have about a dozen plus culverts that we're trying to package up for a local bridge program or for a steep grant. So instead of doing onesies and twosies, I want to see at these locations if we have an opportunity to go after 50% money from the state or 100% money from the state. And also Knight Street, we did bring FEMA through there, and once they saw it was private property, they gave them the IA, the individual assistance route to go for funding, not through the public assistance.
Through the chair. This may not be the right question to ask, but is there any way we can prevent any of this, especially when like Main Street has been getting flooded down by Carvel? Because doesn't it like come down from up the hill and?
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's just the amount of rain. I don't want to be here and saying, give me X amount of dollars and I could fix everything, because it's just the intensity of the storms. I was here that day from 10 a.m. to noon. I went back home. It wasn't a big event. And then I got home, heard it in Middlebury. And then, I must have got a dozen alert notifications. So I was back in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Bob and I ran across each other. We were talking on the phone. And it was just so intense. I saw center lines of roads where the water was running down the center line of a crowned road. And I'm like, there's a crown. It's supposed to be in the gutter. Because it's like, how are you going to design anything to survive in Southbury or Oxford? There was nothing that, we were fortunate. We were just a town or two away with a 100-year storm. And I think part of it too is all of our roads would look like 84 or 8, up high, super wide, big drainage pipes. But you're building a road to last 100 years, and you get a 1,000-year storm. None of them are designed, for that.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, I'd like to go to Fern Hill and have Joe come up and brief the details.
Okay, Fern Hill has already been put out to bid, and basically the contractor awarded is Guerrera Construction. The actual contract has not been awarded to him yet. We're waiting for him to give us a start date. The PO is all set. We've been out there with meetings, pre-construction meetings. He will be shutting down one lane at a time. Again, most of this pipe is all corrugated metal. It's all collapsing, rusted out. We do not know from the 18 August how much additional damage has been done to the area, if any additional undermining of the existing concrete pipe has happened, until we start digging it out and repairing it, we will not know that. Again, at this time, we're waiting for him to let us know. He is just completing most of his work in Oxford and in Southington with the help that they've been doing there. So he's just getting back on his feet to get out to do these jobs.
And Joe, you just want to talk, it's 3 separate areas?
Yeah. Basically, it is 3 separate areas. It is Otis Drive from a manhole 24 feet in to an existing RCP pipe. We go down Fern Hill in front of the Watertown sewage pump station and water pump station. There's another area there about, I think that's 118 feet, all again of corrugated metal pipe, but it was also squash pipe, which means that it's oval. So we're putting in a larger pipe. We are going to clear all the existing utility in that area. And after that, we're going to go down to Northfield Road and, I forgot the name of that road.
Fern Hill.
No.
Smith
Smith Pond.
Smith Pond.
Smith Pond Road, it crosses near the 36-inch water main of Waterbury. Again, that was a squash pipe. We are going to replace it with a 36-inch HDPE pipe, which is basically that plastic pipe you've been seeing, the black one with the corrugated ribs. It will fit in there. We have the cover and everything else. We just have to be extremely careful going near that 36-inch water main of Waterbury. Waterbury is going to be on site when they do it also. Again, we're just waiting to coordinate everything with Waterbury and Guerrero Construction. So as soon as we do have that, that will be a press release as well to the public, let them know to avoid the area if possible or to find alternate routes, and we'll get that repaired. One of many we have in town, as you all know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions on that, gentlemen? Yes.
Is this all this work's going to be done before the end of the year? Or?
Yes, it is all supposed to be done before the end of November, if at all possible, and before the snow flies.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the final one, DLT Route 73, Riverside, clean up the sediment. So after I saw the amount of DLT effort and work in Southbury and Oxford, I reached out to them and asked if they could clean out that area. And they called me last week and said that they would do it, with the help of FEMA and DEMIS putting the pressure on them. So they're gonna go in this time to clean out that area between the 2 bridges. They'll do everything except they won't clean out underneath the Riverside Bridge. So I already discussed it with Bob. We're gonna get a piece of equipment to push it further down while they're cleaning up with a contractor. So they will take it, but not underneath Riverside. So it's good news that we don't have to be camped out there for a week or 2 with removing sediment. It's gonna be a contractor that's dedicated.
Great.
And that's it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions under that? No?
I know when I dial in, I'm even quicker, but, you know, we're at 38 minutes, so.
I see no transfers or appropriations. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion that we adjourn this subcommittee meeting.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.